You can look at me, Carole,
Okay.
and we'll both look at the camera too
Okay.
occasionally. I'm with Carole Vivier, who is the CEO and Film Commissioner for Manitoba Film and Music. Welcome. A
Thank
fancy
you.
meeting you here in Cannes.
I know, on the French Riviera is not, you can't complain.
You can't complain. Now tell us about the industry in Manitoba and some of the incentives for producers to take their next film to location there.
Manitoba is really rich culturally and diverse and creatively. We have a lot of filmmakers that have been in Cannes with their films. We have animators that have been up for Academy Awards. So it's a really vibrant film industry there with independent filmmakers. And in addition, we have a lot of guest production that comes in, offshore production that comes to shoot as well, because we have a really diverse locations. We have a fantastic incentive. We have an up to 65% rebate on eligible Manitoba labor. And it doesn't, you don't have to have Canadian content. You don't have to give up any of your copyright in order to get that. So it's really a very simple, easy to use tax credit. The province is just over 1 million people. The city of Winnipeg's 840,000, and last year we did 160 million in production there. So it's very impressive. It's a really vibrant, and we also have a very vibrant music industry. So there's a really cool scene there, and we have a lot of repeat production coming in all the time.
Now, does any of your tax credit, do any of those fare differently for local producers as opposed to producers outside of the province or outside of Canada?
We have one tax credit that works for everybody, but the interesting thing with our tax credit is we have a frequent filming bonus, which means, it's like getting your Starbucks card stamped. And we're the first.
So after 6 films, you get your 7th film free?
Well, yeah. After 2 films in a 2-year period, your third and subsequent film, you get an extra 10% of the tax credit. And if you want to give a credit to a Manitoba producer on your film that you're working with, you can get another 5%. So actually working with the Manitoba production company that has the frequent filming bonus and you want to give them a credit brings you another 15% to your project. So everybody that's shooting in Manitoba is getting the 60%, so they're using the base 45 and then the 15 frequent filming and the 5. And then there's another 5% if you shoot rural. So if you go 35 kilometers or more outside the city of Winnipeg, you'll get another 5%, and that attaches to your entire show.
And what would you say are some of the best incentives in terms of locales? What can producers expect to find in Manitoba?
We have one of the most intact turn of the 19th century architecture. We double the village in New York, we double old Chicago. Actually, at the turn of the century, the architects between the universities in Chicago and Winnipeg, they were working together. We have some buildings that are identical to old Chicago. It's really interesting. But we also have a modern skyscraper, lots of unique buildings. We have the first national museum in Canada outside of Ontario, Quebec, the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. It's a magnificent piece of architecture. Very green city, lots of bridges, lots of rivers, lots of water. I think one thing people are surprised about being a prairie province is that we actually have 100,000 lakes. So people don't expect that. And we have Lake Winnipeg, which is just north of the city, is the 10th largest lake in the world. So a lot of people use that for the ocean as well. And in the winter it freezes solid, so they actually will do the high north on that lake.
Sounds like there's a lot of options for filming in Manitoba, so thank you for sharing those with us.
Thank you.
And if people want more information?
Go to www.mbfilmmusic.ca. It's all on our website.
There you go. Thanks so much, Carole.
Thank you.